Hey everyone, Samantha McLean from Elite Agent Magazine back again with another episode of PM Transform. Continuing our theme from last week and preparing our teams for the Amazing Race Challenge, we welcome back Helen Mitchell from innovative video company Busivid, who is also a coach, if you might remember, in our Sales Transform program earlier this year. If a picture tells 1,000 words, a video must tell millions. One of the challenges our teams will need to complete in their amazing race will be doing away with the usual paper or electronic routine inspection report and completing this instead via video, which they will film on one of these. Then they will need to edit the video, upload it and send it to the owners via email through the Busivid system. Here is Helen with some great tips for the teams on how the system works and how they can use video to make some of the more, let's say, mundane property management tasks more fun and more efficient. Just make sure that if you're going to give the routine inspection via video a go, that you do have permission from your tenants. Here are some of the highlights.
I'm Helen and I'm a co-founder of a software business called Busivid, which was supposed to be half business, half video. And I think the biggest thing that we usually strike as business people start to venture into the abyss of video and what they're going to do with their business and video is that there's a lot of fear. So I'm going to try and break some of those barriers and say, hey, this needn't hurt a bit. And it can actually be an incredible leverage to create a point of difference. So Sam's asked me to run through for the Amazing Race. We're going to provide you with just a taste of some of the equipment. So Busivid is a software platform that allows you to very, very easily create branded content. So you can use your smartphone, you can use more elaborate cameras if you like. We have a whole lot of free training that shows you how to grab a terrific testimonial. The beauty of smartphones is that they're in your back pocket. You can just grab that, and the nicest thing is if you want to point the camera at somebody else, which is where we all like to start, you'll find that you get really great authentic video this way, as opposed to the big guns, the whole big lights and you know, big production, which has its place. And if you were, for example, doing an overview of your property management team or your business, I would highly recommend bringing in, you know, a professional, because they give it that extra touch, the perspective that an outsider, you know, you get very close to your own business or your message. But for everyday purposes, it's still very, very doable to have a quick app that allows you to brand top and tail and automatically publish. So our system is made into a desktop interface, which is designed when you're in the office, you can manage all of your video assets. And then the big challenge for business as we move forward is that over the next 5 years, every business is going to contend with the dilemma: how am I going to store and keep tabs of all that video content? So it's a search engine that finds all your videos, it puts it all into projects that you establish, and then it allows you to search for those. So it could be years later and you think, oh, where's that footage that I shot, or there was that interview we did with somebody, or there was something I grabbed. Busivid is designed to grow with your business and tackle that challenge that you have, because millennials, who now represent 41% of, you know, the audience out there, they don't read, and they also don't want a highly polished and sophisticated video. They're looking for authentic. So we believe we've met a lot of the needs to help a business delegate the tasks. So within your organisation, you can have the structure to allow some people to film and others to create the voiceover, for example, if you wish. Particularly in a sales environment or anywhere where you want to build trust. The human voice is like a fingerprint. It's a unique sound, and it is a very compelling way to break down barriers and create trust. So even if you just wanted to quickly film some footage and communicate to the owner of the property, so here's what you'll be receiving for the Amazing Race. It's a little super mount here, which holds any smartphone, And this is the Stealth iPole. It's out of the US. It was developed for Homeland Security. So you can imagine that this is a very robust version, and they would actually, you can actually create aerial perspectives, looking up and over fences or whatever. Not that you're going to necessarily going, you know, in the car keys and, you know, shimmying through. But I imagine that having a few investment properties myself, knowing how the email issue can escalate very quickly, and I'll come back with some data around how we communicate and understand message. Video can be very simple, so I can literally turn on my camera. I can then come up to, let's say I've got a mold issue up here, and I could just quickly pan across there, use the app to quickly top and tail it, so it would have your branding at the intro and conclusion with a watermark throughout the presentation, and you'll see all of this when you're doing the race. You could actually use this as a monopod, so if you extend the legs and want to stand it on the ground and straighten this up, it doubles as a monopod or a tripod. So if you wanted to get a nice stable pan across a room, you could very, very quickly combine still photographs and video, assemble it all, and typically I would say you could do a, well, the test will be on when you're in the home on the 18th, but you will find that the combination of still photographs and a little bit of video, you could assemble something in typically around 7 to 8 minutes. Fully branded, published, ready to send. And we have analytics that allow you to send that message to somebody and know when they actually watched the video. Now that might be of great relevance when you've got people like me who don't open all their emails and don't read the messages that you're sending, and to know that it was actually watched might be fantastic if it was an important, let's say, property condition report that you prepared as a video. It's not about you. I did this YouTube video, and in 6 months, it's more than doubled in views. So now I'm up to 11,000 something or other. And it was just me showing how to film a car with an iPhone. And it was a previous company name before we moved into the US and became Busivid. But what's interesting about it is I did absolutely no optimization. I just had the most simple search terms at the time. And the engagement, you know, some people are making, you know, snide comments, of course, and, you know, sometimes you've got thumbs up and sometimes they're thumbs down. But the main thing is that if you do the smallest amount of research and look at what's available on YouTube, which is the second largest search engine. So the reason it is so prolific, and when people are searching to find, let's say, your business, you will come up way higher on any search because Google purchased YouTube and they preferentially select video content to come onto page 1. Now you have 53 times more chance of being found on page 1 if you can include video for your business. And obviously you might find a perfect opportunity to pop up a testimonial with a, you know, somebody who's had a wonderful experience working, you know, with your organization, or there's countless things you can do, but the views and the counts will continue to work long after, that's the message, long after you've done the exercise, it will be working for you. You know yourself when you meet people face to face, that is going to be streets ahead of what you can achieve with an email or a phone call. How practical is it to meet face to face? That's the challenge. You'll have, you know, clients that are interstate, overseas, whatever. So really, video is the very next best thing, and it is the foundation of the strongest way that you can communicate and ultimately diffuse a lot of things that can escalate out of control, because the email wars, you know, all of that stuff could be handled if we can find more effective ways to streamline the communication. And by doing so, you're actually creating a point of difference. The other key points I would suggest you consider is reducing that day-to-day agitation. Has anyone FaceTimed? Okay, so all that fear and hesitation you have about video, you're actually doing it, except you're not perceiving it as that. There's something that goes on up here that says, oh, you know, I've got to lose 5 kilos, I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. No, you are meeting face to face, so just think of it as an extension of a face-to-face meeting. You don't lock yourself away and say, I can't leave the office until I get my hair done. No, you're going to pull it up into a ponytail and you're going to tear out the door, because that's just life. So I think the way to cope with dealing with how you're going to produce video, obviously you can start by filming other things, whether it's a property report or a testimonial, and get comfortable with it. But eventually you'll find that your point of difference and the engagement that you get. When I produced the video many years back about how to film the car, I actually had people ringing me saying, you changed my business, you changed the way I thought about how I was doing things. So I realized at that point it wasn't about me, it was about how I can be helpful. And in your industry, to create that point of difference of being helpful, being concise and effective with your communication is fundamental. And investing in simple techniques will give ROI over time. I want you to think about, you're doing this elite program, I want you to think about positioning your property management team as elite industry experts. Explain why you're different, harness the emotion that you can get from producing video, because that's what's really on the table here. Is if they have fears or if they've had a bad experience, just the reassurance that they are leaving their investment with somebody who can manage the whole process, deal with it calmly. That is what you can use in your mind to embrace technology and use it to your advantage. In the sales arena, 73% of vendors say they would list with an agent that offers video to market their property online, but only 4% of agents actually use video regularly, and that is in the sales area. Now, the other stat is that when you add video to an email, you increase the click-through rate by a further 96%, which is nearly double. So again, it's how we like to receive information, and our software tools will make it so easy for you to then publish and distribute the videos that you're creating. That can always happen later. Just think about building a library and starting to think this way, and it won't hurt a bit, I promise.